G'day Gooners, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Unfortunately, it is not a good day to be an Arsenal fan, isn't it? Terrible result. Probably our worst performance of the season. It's becoming a bit of a common theme at the moment. The way we're playing, it seems to be getting worse. I'm sure we'll break it down, get into it, all that stuff. I'm joined with George as always. George, how are you after that game?
Yeah, feeling pretty shit to be quite honest with you. It's very typical Arsenal under Arteta, really. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but they were comparing Arteta's record in April to Pep's record for City in
Yeah.
April, and ours is like a 38% win record in April over Mikel's tenure. So there is something about this period of time that we are just not very good in. And to be honest with you, if you're looking at the bigger picture, excuse me while I have my ice cream, drown my sorrows in eating food. If you look at the bigger picture, Cal, it's we've sort of been playing like this all season, and
Yeah.
that what I guess my excuse as a big Arteta admirer has been was something similar to what Henri was saying. How in the 2022-23 season played scintillating football, didn't get over the line. 2023-24, pretty robotic, but got the job done. Record was amazing, but City were just better. And then last year, obviously, we had so many injuries, so we addressed that in the summer, really brought in a big squad. So this was the year to just get it done. Doesn't matter how we do it. And whilst that's happening, and whilst you're getting the results, whilst not playing well, you're sort of like, yeah, okay, fair enough. We're just finding a way to win. But now we're not getting the results.
Yeah.
So now you have to look at really the game model and what that consists of. And this group of players realistically should be playing better football than they are playing.
Yeah.
Um,
Of
having
course.
said that, Cal, there is a lot of footballers who we do have in the squad who are just not well suited to playing good football and don't have the capability. And we've said it many times. Like we'll break down the front three that were starting the game: Martinelli, Gyökeres, and Madueke. Like none of them have technical security. So if you're going to play with players who don't have technical security, you at least have to play with a midfield that does. Playing Kai Havertz as a 10, he also doesn't have technical security. So why are we expecting any different results to what we've had? Kai Havertz has played number 10 three out of our last four games, and we've lost every game that he's started as a number 10. And the only game where he didn't start as a 10 was a sporting game that we
To
won.
be fair, though, that was because Eze just came back from injury, probably not fit enough to start, and Odegaard injured as well. Like we didn't really have any other choice besides putting Dowman there. But I feel like that is maybe a jump too far at the moment. It just makes me think I do times like these where I do miss Wanyeri a lot. I feel like he'd be a good player for these sorts of games. So I get what you mean as well with the front three. Like we've literally talked about that front three on this podcast before. Like they're all runners. And the same thing as what you said, like no technical, like not as technical as like a Trossard or a Saka as well, will give you more control of the ball. Like we've seen that front three before, and it doesn't work. Like it hasn't really worked that well, to be honest, hasn't it?
100%. And like you've got to look at the recruitment. We've got Kai Havertz there, who was bought for £65 million, is on 295K a week. Like I still don't understand that buy. Like I just at the time that we bought him, listen, he had a great period at the end of the 2023-24 season. But apart from that, in 2022, no, in 20 at the beginning of that season, his first season, he was playing as a midfielder and he was hopeless. Then he got a big injury. He's missed over a year of football pretty much.
Yeah.
And apart from a small stint of football where he was a number nine and he was actually very, very good, he hasn't really been at the level of definitely of someone who's been on that wage, and it just, yeah, it makes you really think, what are they thinking in that recruitment process? Like that doesn't make sense to me, that signing. It doesn't make sense. You
Yeah.
look at who City have bought in: the Rayan Cherkis, the Savinos, the obviously the Semenyos, the Dokus. Like these guys are just match winners. Like they just are. Whereas like Kai just doesn't feel like he's going to win you a match. Like sometimes he will. Like you look at the sporting
He
game and
did
he
in
had the
Sporting, yeah.
composure. But
Yeah.
in the Premier League, it's a totally different.
Yeah.
It's a different beast. It's a different beast, and you know, you need to get over the line when you've spent that much money.
Yeah,
And
I don't think it helps him as well. Like the way he plays, he looks so nonchalant. Like, look, it just genuinely looks like he doesn't care. Like I'm sure he probably does care, but like it doesn't help his case at all, doesn't it? Like
no,
every
it
time he's
doesn't.
kind of moping around a little bit. Like there was one point of the game that really annoyed me with that pass where he tried to play in Martinelli. Like come
Horrible.
on, I know. Like it seemed like that was a common theme. There was a lot of players just losing the ball every time they got it. Ben White I thought was really poor losing the ball. Zubimendi didn't even look like he had his head screwed on today as well, losing the ball a lot. Madueke had a few moments losing the ball as well. I thought when Trossard came on, oh my God, I thought he was really poor, to be honest. I think there's a lot of players that just we didn't keep possession much. A lot of our players were just passing around the back, a lot of backwards passes to Rayo. And even when Rayo got on the ball, holding onto it for way too long. Like, what was that about? Like,
I don't know.
ridiculous.
It comes down to the game model again. We've talked about the risk versus reward, but it seems like for some reason we are taking more risks in our build up than we do in the final third. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. And not only that, when we are taking those risks, right, and Raya's holding onto the ball and he's sort of baiting in a press to play a very, very difficult pass on the angle to Declan Rice, who then plays double back to Saliba. We're not going forward then with our next pass. The ball's just going straight back to Raya.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just makes no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. And then, as you correctly said, when that ball, a brilliant pass from Raya, by the way, into Kai
Oh,
Havertz,
yeah. Yeah.
broke the line, and all he had to do was drive and just be confident. He doesn't look like he's playing with any confidence, to be fair, Havertz. But that just the execution of passing is so poor, and it seems like without Eze or Odegaard on the pitch, we literally don't look like we're creating chances. And the proof is in the pudding. I think it was a 0.0, I think 19 xg chances
Yeah.
from open play in
0.19.
that
Yeah, it
game.
was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the penalty
0.19.
carried
There you
us.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And then,
I'm saying from open play. I think it was
yeah, it
even
was, yeah,
less.
from open play, it was 0.19. And then from penalty, it was whatever else it was. Yeah. But that's way too low, to be honest. I think in the first half, just getting into the game, I think Havertz should have buried that chance in the corner. Like, I think it came off his shoulder, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it did. But yeah, they go on and take the lead. It was Krupi. It was sort of it was a really good ball. I forget who it was from, but then it went into Truffet. Thought White should have done better. He kind of broke the lines, went straight through to the left back. Truffet crossed it in, flicked off Saliba's toe, I believe, and then the back
Yeah.
post, and Krupi was there to sort of tap it in. So it was a well worked goal. To be fair, like I was saying, I mean, I said it in my vlog that'll come out later, but I said like to be fair to Bournemouth, like that was a well worked goal. Like it just was. So credit to them. I mean, credit to Bournemouth, to be honest. I've gotten to the stage where like I used to do this thing where I was like, oh no, the other team, they play shit, like I don't deserve, but like we deserve to lose these games. Like it's actually like Bournemouth played well and so did Southampton, like credit to them. But yeah, it was poor,
Bournemouth.
wasn't it?
Yeah, no, Bournemouth played us off the park, mate.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I've listened to other creators talk about this, and it's absolutely spot on. Bournemouth were the perfect example to us as to why our football ultimately will not succeed in the current way that it is without any sort of changes. Because we can absolutely talk about the fact that there was no Timber, there was no Odegaard, there was no Calafiori, there was no Marino, and there was no Saka. Now, five players who are pretty important in our squad, right? You could say
Yeah.
that our captain's super important. Saka's arguably our best player. Timber and Calafiori, in terms of the way we play, are super important. And Marino comes up with goals when we need it and we're not playing well.
I'm
So,
missing him a lot, man, to be honest. I'm missing him.
100%. But you look at Bournemouth and they've lost their best player during the season. In the summer, they were absolutely crucified in
They
terms of the
lost.
players
Did you
they
hear the
lost.
commentator? They said they lost three of their back four, which is crazy.
Yeah, Dean Huyson, the other
Kirkers.
centre. Yeah, Kirk, and who the other centre back who went to what's his name? PSG. You know the one I mean.
Oh, I don't know. It's lost my head. It's lost my head. Yeah, but they
I'll
definitely
get
lost a
beat.
lot. They've lost a lot of players.
I
Though,
get
yeah.
beaten in the comments for not knowing who that player is, but it's in my head somewhere. But the point I'm trying to make is, and of course, losing Semenyo in January, right? They've lost a lot of players, but Raiola has them playing in exactly the same way. And the reason that he can do that is because the recruitment has been so good in terms of
Yeah,
fitting the game model. Now, to me, Madueke is not really a like for like replacement to Saka. Like they're very different profiles. Now, in some ways, that's a good thing because
yeah,
it means you can change games when you're not winning. But in the same way, when Saka's not available and you're trying to play the same way with someone who's not got the same attributes as Saka, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. And the same way that on the left hand side. Obviously, Eze hasn't really played there that much this season, so Martinelli and Trossard are completely different to each other, offer completely different things. Same goes for Gyökeres and Havertz. And to be fair to Gyökeres, I actually thought he played all right.
yeah,
Consider it. Listen, the ball bounces off him. We were trying to play long because we weren't sort of able to play through the lines because Zubimendi was not having a good game at all, and Bryce was trying, but the quality wasn't really there. But the ball was bouncing off Gyökeres, as it does, but there was no one there to receive the second ball. We were losing every second ball. But we can't change the way that we were playing because we just didn't have the players to do that, which seems ridiculous considering the amount of money we've spent on this squad. So they need to find a different solution. And to me, the solution is very obvious. Zubimendi had a stinkable game and a game where he should be dropped, in my opinion. Obviously, off the pitch antics are separate to on the pitch antics, and on the pitch is what I will only speak about. Off the pitch, I'll let the courts do what they've got to do. But on the pitch, we miss Thomas Partey. Genuinely,
yeah,
we do.
yeah,
We miss the way that he can just drop his shoulder and play the ball through the line so easily to find one of our number 10s. But I look now and we don't even have anyone in those half spaces. Like it's so
yeah,
strange. Like we're forcing the ball into wide situations. And yes, I'm speaking about Martinelli, Trossard, and Madueke in the way that I'm speaking, but I kind of feel sorry for them because they have to do most of the legwork. We play in that horseshoe situation where
yeah,
it's very, very predictable, and it just gives Martinelli, Trossard, and Madueke, and whoever's out on that left or right hand side the most to do. They have to beat three or four men to create
yeah,
something crazy, and it's the game model that for me there's a problem with, not necessarily the players. I mean, it's definitely a mixture of both. It is a mixture of both. Because even when we're playing well, Madueke takes the ball off the pitch and, doesn't wrap his right foot around. And, Martinelli is very frustrating in the way that he plays with, doing a tick-attacker and not being able to beat his man the
yeah.
same way that a Rayan for Bournemouth is able to do constantly. So it's a mixture of both. But I personally really do not think the way that we are playing is profiling our players to the maximum of their potential.
Yeah, 100%. Like the system we're using is not setting our players up for success. Like you said it perfectly before. Like when Saka isn't playing, we expect Madueke to play the same role. It's like, what? They're not even the same sort of player at all. Madueke is going to take people on, run at full pace. Sometimes I think he runs a bit too hard and runs off the pitch. Saka's
Literally.
a bit more controlled. He'll like to pass it around, which is preferably what I prefer in a player. I think that suits our play style more. Of course, I love it when Madueke takes on players, and it's good when he does beat them, although his end product isn't great. But in a game like that, where he has to beat two, three men before he can even think about getting a pass in, it's just not. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you're expecting someone to do something that maybe 1 out of 5 times is like feasibly possible. You know what I mean? So I think it doesn't set us up very well at all. And I think there's so many problems in our attack at the moment. You're talking about the horseshoe problem. I feel like we have a horseshoe problem at the back as well. It goes from a right back to centre back to keeper. Like it's just so poor all around the pitch, to be honest. And I think you said it before. Zubimendi had a stinker. You put it in the title as well of another podcast I remember against Manchester United, Zubimendi stinker. I think it's been a long time coming, but I think he needs to be dropped, I think, to be honest. And maybe play Rice as the lone six. That's what I'll go with in our next game personally. I want to see that. Don't know what midfield you put ahead of him, maybe an Eze or a
And an
Havertz.
Odegaard. Eze and an Odegaard. I don't want to see
Yeah.
Havertz play in the
Well,
midfield
I'm saying
ever
it. Yeah,
again.
well, I'm saying Havertz because we don't know when Odegaard's back yet. But obviously, I,
Okay.
I put an Odegaard. If not, then maybe
Lewis Skelly. Play
put
Lewis Skelly. You've
yeah,
got
yeah,
you've
yeah.
literally got a leggy
Or a
midfielder who
Norgard. We
can.
haven't used Norgard enough. I know he's not probably at the same level as Zubimendi, but surely he's going to be as better than Zubimendi at the moment, right? You have to think.
Yeah, 100%. You should have given him a chance during the season, to be honest. But to like, I'm going with Lewis Skelly if Odegaard isn't available, but my gut tells me he probably will be available. I think it was just
Yep.
a knock he picked up.
Okay.
But yeah, look, why not? Why not Lewis Skelly? Like a different profile in the midfield who can literally take players on. I actually thought, for someone who hasn't played a lot of football and was thrown in yesterday, I actually thought Lewis Skelly did quite well. So he's one of
Yep.
the few players that can hold his head high through his performance. But yeah, I mean, moving on to our captain, this guy just hasn't been available all season, and
Yeah.
like it's crazy how polarizing he is as a player at the moment for Arsenal. Like I'm on all my group chats, people are like killing him, like he should never play for Arsenal again. Um, why is he captain? Oh, we've seen. I thought they voted for him to be captain and Gabriel second. So why was Declan Rice captain yesterday? All this sort of stuff. I personally don't get it. I don't get it. I think when it comes to Odegaard, when he's on and you can get him playing consistent game time, similar to what Arteta was saying in the pre-match, he can literally change the way that we create chances, and we can look a proper side when he's on. But having said that, he hasn't really been fit for a year and a half, so it's very, very hard to judge him. And yes, there's
Yep.
been some games where he hasn't been very good. But there's also been some games where he's been very good. You think about that Newcastle performance when he came on and he literally changed the game. And he was a big reason for why we took three
Yep.
points away at St James's Park, which we don't usually do. So there's a lot of talent there. He's definitely one that I would stick with if we can get him fit. But we need to get him fit and firing. Same with
Yep.
Eze. Same with Saka. We need to get up. I said it last season, Cal. At crunch time, you need your best players available.
Yep.
How come it's April and John Stones is suddenly fit every single year?
I don't know. I thought
Rodri looks like
he barely plays any games, doesn't he?
Rodri looks like a different player now.
Yeah.
How come Rayan Cherki is available every single game for City? Doesn't even start almost every game. Bernardo Silva fit every single week. Haaland, God forbid, he misses one game of football. This is the difference, mate. When you build a squad and you're building a team that if you take one or two players out, the players that come in aren't just as good, but sometimes they actually raise the level. It creates such a different aspect of belief and trajectory through a season. Like them bringing in Semenyo and Gahey mid-season is a game changer for me. And I said it to you at the time, and I stick with it because they haven't had the pressure in the first half of the season that the Arsenal boys and the Manchester City boys have had in
Yep.
terms of playing that many games, getting that many points. And they probably felt super fresh coming in January. So they gave the whole City squad a massive lift. And it just means players like Marmoush don't really need to play a bigger role as they would have previously, or
Yeah.
a Nathan Ake, for example, or Gvardiol, or I don't know, like a Kuzanov. It takes the pressure off those players so that they can actually just focus on what they've got to do. And it looks like now City are just starting to get into the rhythm that we know City do every single year, and it's extremely worrying, extremely worrying. And just to bring up a different point, I mean, I could talk hours on this specific game because it's worrying. It's very, very worrying. What Mikel Arteta said pre-game, and he's quite a not a polarizing figure, but he says a lot of things, and obviously some of it is in jest, and you just sort of got to get behind it because he's the gaffer and he's trying to galvanize the fan base and get the boys across the line. But he said like get there early, bring your lunch, bring your dinner, bring the noise. But there comes a certain point. Obviously, it's a big game. So for the first 10, 15 minutes, the fans were great. But then it's on the players to
Yeah.
produce a certain level of performance to sustain the fans being loud. But they haven't done it. They haven't
Yeah.
done it, and you could see that you could hear the fans sort of every pass that was going astray, going ooh, and
Yeah.
obviously getting worried and nervous. Yeah, but the reason they're nervous is because the players aren't performing on the pitch. It's a good performances which then encourage the fans to get up and about, not the other way around.
Yeah.
The
I
the
actually
fact.
go on.
Go on, you go.
I was just gonna say I actually saw a Instagram reel today about someone filming a little passage of play from the stands about like ground level. Oh my god, it looked so slow. Like there was no intensity at all. Eze was on the ball, and it was like walking football. Like honestly, it was pathetic to be honest. Like No one was making any runs. Normally it's like, pass and move, that sort of thing, but it was none of that. It was really, really disappointing, to be honest, to even see that.
100%, 100%. And like, you know what? Uh, Again, Bournemouth were a perfect example because they played scintillating, fast football. They were playing through central areas. Senesi was taking risks on the ball and finding midfielders' feet. I thought Alex Scott had a good game.
Oh
I
yeah, he
thought
was
all,
class. Yeah,
really, really good technical play,
yeah.
just like playing the ball in between the lines, gliding with it, causing problems,
So
right?
apparently he's a boyhood Spurs fan as well, so that didn't help the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
media
not
brigade.
it's not good at all. It's not good at all. But I guess the point is even the fullbacks, Jimenez and Trofeo, I thought they were quality, mate. If you take risks going forward, risks will pay off. I rather we be in games where it's end to end, exciting, scintillating football. We might actually concede a few goals, but we'll score more. The games will be
Yeah,
open. It'll be
yeah,
exciting. We can play chaos, more chaos football, and just rely on the fact that we're a better team than most to win these games.
yeah,
But we're actually playing so I can't even speak, conservatively, and we're still conceding almost 2 goals a game.
yeah,
It was different when at the start of the season when we were just looking up teams and there was no chance we were
yeah,
conceding even chances. But we're not that team at the moment. We're just not.
yeah.
So why don't we change the way that we're playing, make it slightly more exciting for the fans? I mean, if we win the league, fantastic. No one will care, right? As in, no Arsenal fan will care. But I'm telling you, everyone else will be saying this is the most boring Arsenal team that they've ever seen and
Yeah.
most boring team to win the Premier League. And it actually might stick for years to come, which is a shame because we would have got across the line. But it'll be the truth. It's
Yeah.
very boring.
I mean, I used to hate that narrative, to be honest, but then like the last few weeks, it's like it's kind of right though. Like you're not wrong, especially as of recent. It's just so sideways, backwards, conservative, safe, and exactly what you said before. Like if it was at the start of the season where we're locking down those clean sheets, and all we really need, like if you get a clean sheet, all you need is one goal. If it's the start of the season, we get the Victor Gyökeres penalty, we grind out a 1-0, happy days. But it's not like that anymore. Like I'm expecting for the first time for like a month, probably since that City game, I'm actually not surprised when we concede. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, well, I knew it was going to happen eventually, which is just,
yeah.
I think, yeah, it just really highlights the problems that are in our squad at the moment, to be honest. Speaking of Bournemouth players, you said Alex Jimenez before. I don't know if you saw, but he was actually linked to Arsenal. Would that be a player that you're interested in if Ben White goes out the window?
100%, mate. Looked very, very athletic, like different profile of fullback, very quick, very direct, very like attacking in terms of like
Yeah,
where he sort of ends up on the pitch. I thought he played really, really well. And yeah, no, definitely a player I'd be interested in. Of course. Again, great recruitment from Bournemouth. Um, got to give credit to them. They played very, very well on the day. They completely deserved the result they got.
yeah,
So yeah, it's extremely disappointing.
cool.
Extremely disappointing.
Just on the second half, it was obviously 1-1 going into the half. I don't know what Arteta told them at half time, but obviously wasn't enough for them to even show anything. We've seen at points this season where we turn up in the second half, but yeah, I don't know what would he even said of at half time. Like it was more of the same. We saw a triple substitution. At that point, I felt a bit of hope. I saw Trossard, Dalman, and Eze come on, and I was like, okay, revamped attack. Eze controlled the ball. Eze looked like a shell of himself, didn't he? I don't know if that was because of the injuries. I don't know if I'm being harsh, but I don't think he really impacted the game. But I mean, I probably am being harsh. No one really turned
Yeah.
up, to be honest. So, but I think I just expected a bit more, as a like some magic moment popping up. But yeah, it was poor all around. Obviously, then they got the second goal, huge gap in the middle. Alex Scott finishes. To be honest, I thought when Jesus came on, he was actually all right. Like I don't know, I don't know. He
I
had
don't
a few
know.
moments where he was actually on the ball playing. I think it was a small little bit of hope in a day that was completely not for us, to be honest. I thought he made a few good passes. Besides that, though, no one really shone today. Sorry. So, yeah, poor day at the office. That's a 2-1 loss now. We've still got 9 points as we're recording this before the Chelsea City game. Hopefully, Chelsea can do something. I don't. What do you think? Do you think Chelsea can get a result?
I think this is the time where City just turn it on, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Um,
The hope. You gotta have the hope, bro.
We've got to go to the Etihad and do something.
Yeah,
We've got to go and
I
beat
was
them
saying
more.
that's the only way that I'll forgive this team at the moment. If we go to the Etihad and win, I'll forgive them. If not, I'm very worried for the rest of the season, to be honest. Do you think after this game, Arteta will go to the Etihad and aim for a draw?
Quite possibly. I think that, I'm talking about changing the midfield three to make it, more expansive, but the Etihad is probably not the right game to do it in.
Yeah,
Um, so I have no doubts that he'll go again with a Rice Mendy double pivot, um, which makes sense for that game. But it's disappointing. I think what the problem that we have with Zubimendi is he's not that mobile. So Rice has to sort of overcompensate. Like last season when Thomas was playing as a six, Rice's starting position was much higher.
yeah.
Now he helps us out and build up much more, which just means we have one less player to pick out, further forward. So yeah, it's one of those things where if you're actually controlling football matches, it doesn't really matter. Like you can at least say, you know what, we controlled this game, and they had two chances and scored two goals. But then, how many times has that happened that we concede one chance and we concede a goal? There
Yeah.
must be a pattern. There must be a reason for it now. So whatever the coaching staff are thinking, they have to make some serious changes to what we've been seeing of late because it's just not good enough. And I feel bad for all the match going fans, paying a lot of money to go watch those games, and it's just embarrassing, really, really embarrassing. But you got to move on. We're still 9 points ahead, obviously, at the time of recording. Um, Chelsea can go and beat City, and that'll be, but this conversation will almost be pointless. But um, yeah, not good, not good. Listen, Gyökeres took his goal very well. Um,
Yeah.
again, penalty probably was a penalty. Once the ref gave it, it was never going to get overturned, and
Yeah.
he took the penalty very very well, very confidently. What I do love about Gyökeres is he just hits the ball extremely hard,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
haven't had that sort of conviction for a long time, maybe since like a Van Persie, in terms of that ball striking. We just don't really get him into ball striking positions anywhere often enough,
There was a few, like a couple chances that
on
he
his left
probably,
foot.
yeah, it was tough. But the thing that I actually really appreciated about Gyökeres today was you could literally see it in his face how much he cared and how much it was paining him that he wasn't scoring these chances and getting on the ball. I don't think I really saw that with any other players. So I respect that a lot. That it shows that he cares, and I think on a day like that, at least I just want to at least see them that they care. It looked like they didn't even want to be there, to be honest. It's just a bad game all around, to be honest. But yeah, like you said, nothing we can really do about it now. We just have to look ahead. Like, look, we're in the quarterfinal against Sporting next, a 1-0 advantage. We didn't actually get to do a podcast about that game, so we'll cover it real quick. I mean, it was more of the same, really. It was very, very boring, but we did lock down the defense better. Martinelli at the end with that nice little shimmy, ball into Havertz, great touch. I know you're not the biggest fan of Havertz, but that was a nice goal. Yeah,
No,
so 1-0,
as
and
I
then
said, it in the Champions League, mate. Like it's slightly
it's
different.
different.
Get
Yeah,
the games are more expansive. To be fair to Martinelli and to Havertz, I thought they did great when they came on. But like we're not seeing, and this is what pisses me off most about Arteta. Like I knew after Martinelli did that, there was no way that he wasn't starting in this game, and he just does not suit the Premier League at all, to be honest. Especially in games where we don't have creators on the pitch to find him in good areas, And I just knew that he was going to reward him for that one piece of magic in a whole season. It's almost like you really trust someone, but you trust them too much. They let you down constantly, and then the one time they don't let you down, you're like, oh yes, they're back. And then the week later they go back to doing exactly what they're used to doing. And that is literally what happened with Martinelli. But even so, like I'm humble enough to say he did extremely well, and I actually thought that little cameo from him was very very good in the Champions League. Same goes for Havertz, very
yeah,
composed.
good
Um,
finish.
Again, it's one of those things where if we're playing like that, but similarly we're getting the wins. I don't care. I don't care. We're
Yeah,
getting
of
across the
course.
line. It's a pretty you know good away European performance. We've done half the work now going to the Emirates for the second leg, and we just have to bounce back and come up with a much better performance there going forward. You know what I mean?
100%. It's Champions League focus from now. Let's just put the league behind us until the City game. We'll talk about that after the second leg of the Sporting quarterfinal. But for us, it's a Thursday 5 a.m. kickoff. Definitely looking forward to it. I think this is a chance for us to show that we can play that expansive football, to be honest, and sort of make a bit of a statement. I know it's a different league, but this is our chance to make that sort of statement. We're at home against Sporting, second leg. Like, I'm hoping they can turn up, but we'll see how we go. Lineups for that game. What do you think? What would you
It's
go with?
very injury dependent.
Yeah,
I need to hear what the gaffer has to say before the game, but I'd go with Raya. Hopefully Timber's back.
I think he should be
Tim,
back. I think Tibbs should be
yeah,
back. We'll see.
Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. Hopefully he's back. I'd go with Rice, Eze. Hopefully Odegaard's back, and then I'd go Trossard. Hopefully Saka's back. It's like you just don't know.
Yeah, we don't
Uh,
know. Yeah,
we don't know, but that would be my idea. Saka and then Gyökeres would be my
yeah.
ideal
I'll go with
if
that as well. Yeah, yeah.
if they're all fit. But you got to wait and see, mate. You got to wait and see. But
How do you see
yeah,
this game going though? Are you confident, or is there a bit of doubt after the Bournemouth game?
no, I think we'll be all right. Champions
Yeah,
League's always different. The level is just not quite the same, and the intensity is not quite the same. But we've got to defend far a lot better than we did against Bournemouth if we want to go through in that competition. And they really need to bounce back now. They owe the fans. Arteta can't
sure.
be telling the fans to pack your lunch and pack your dinner and then perform like we did against Bournemouth to not bounce back against Sporting. So we've got to bounce back. I'm expecting a win. Nothing else will suffice for me. So 2-0 win on the day, 3-0 on the aggregate, and we'll move on to the semi-final in the Champions League.
Nice. I'll go 1-0 win, but I think we'll show good signs. This week for Arsenal though, it's a massive week, a season defining week. We've got quarterfinal, which we need to win. I know we're up 1-0, but it's a knockout competition. Anything can happen. And then we've got City at the weekend, and depending on results, it can make the gap smaller. So definitely worried, but also excited as well. I've still got hope. As football fans, we always have hope that things can get better, and I'm sure it can. We've got the players, and Saka's coming back, and I know he hasn't been fantastic this season. Calafiori, like we've got players coming back. Odegaard, hopefully as well. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. We should be okay. Lift the spirits up. But yeah, I think that's all we've got time for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube as well. All the links and stuff will be in the description. We'll do a lot of short form content before the game, Sporting, and then for the City game as well. Definitely looking forward to it. George, you got anything?
Yeah, much hope you have a good day, Gooners, and
Yeah.
don't be listening to all the rival fans who, of course, choose when we lose to then pipe up an extortionate amount.
We just got to remember what position they're all in. Besides, I mean, the only ones that can even talk are City fans, but then they're not real football fans anyway, so it doesn't even count.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Have a good day, guys. We'll catch you next time. See ya.